everyone. I hope this finds you well and living your best life in Jesus Christ. As I prepared the Bible study we're currently studying on Wednesday night called How Not to Be a Pharisee, I'm ashamed to say that I stumbled across evidence that I have a hidden Pharisee in me that occasionally will surface in my mind and must be constantly rooted out of my attitudes. This Pharisee is evidently a judgmental, self-righteous old cuss who loves to displace compassion with prejudice so that he can feel superior to others. I'm sure he has good intentions, but he keeps missing the point of God's grace, and evidently he's not alone. Truth is, I've discovered that most Christians, if we were truly honest with ourselves, have their own hidden Pharisee. You see, we all have our prejudices and misjudgments, our mistaken notions of superiority. We all, at one time or another, are the Pharisee in the parable in Luke 18:9 through 14, who uttered our own versions of this. God, I thank you that I'm not like other people, robbers, evildoers, adulterers, or even like this tax collector. I fast twice a week and give a tenth of all I get. What if we turned our notions all around and upside down to match the priorities of God's kingdom? What if we became the pupils of those we initially and quite wrongly believed to be beneath us? For example, instead of imitating the rich man in Luke 16 who day in and day out, year in and year out, held contempt on Lazarus, the poor man sitting at his gate, what if we sat down with our Lazaruses to learn from them? After all, Jesus tells us in Matthew 19:30, many who are first will be last, and the last first. There's a variety of reasons why we feel superior to others. Much of it has to do with blindness to our own sins and our own flaws. It's easier and comforting to spot what's wrong in others. It's much harder and scarier to see it in ourselves. If we do see our own shortcomings, what do? We downplay them. Oh, it's just the way I am. As I've said in other devotionals, this leads to pride and, frankly, an unteachable spirit. As Jesus says in Matthew 7, we busy ourselves trying to remove a sliver from the eye of another when there's a log in ours. But thank the Lord, the closer we come to Christ, the more we see ourselves for what we really are, the good, the bad, and let's face it, the ugly. This self-knowledge is a gift from God and produces in us humility, not shame. It curbs not only the tendency to think more highly of ourselves than we ought, but also any inclination, to think of ourselves and others as less than God does. Romans 12:3 reminds us, do not think of yourselves more highly than you ought, but rather think of yourselves with sober judgment in accordance with the faith God has distributed to each of you. There are many reasons people can find themselves feeling superior to others. Maybe we make more money than they do, or maybe we have a better education. Maybe we consider ourselves godlier because we possess certain virtues that they do not. And then we forget, of course, that they have virtues we don't. Perhaps we need to be willing to learn from those that we think are beneath us. So how do we fight that hidden Pharisee? Well, the answer is simple, but it can be really difficult. We have to be intentional. We need to make room for them at our tables, in our organizations, and in our daily lives. We need to make room for them in our pews. The kind of fellowship where we embrace each other as equals has a way of collapsing these imagined distances between our backgrounds and circumstances. As we position ourselves to learn from those we underappreciate, we often find we're the ones with the weaker faith and trust in God. And you know what? It's likely we are the ones who have much to learn from them. Once we begin practicing this attitude, we will find God sends many messengers of grace our way. We simply need eyes to see and to have hearts like Christ. So today, I'm going to ask you to do everything you can to look in yourself for that Pharisee and his judgmental attitude and evict him from your mind. The best way to do that is find someone today and help them. You might just find that you receive way more than you give. I hope you make today a terrific day. I want you to know that I'm here if you need me. and I love you all.